am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video. Today joined by a very special guest, Siobhan.
Well, hello everyone.
Hello, Siobhan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay.
Okay.
You know, I think we're gonna have a really good discussion today. Derrick Jaxn, I've done videos on him in the past. He came out with a video, what really separates betas from alphas? I think it'll be interesting to hear from his perspective the difference between a beta and an alpha. Are you familiar with this YouTuber?
I am familiar with this YouTuber.
Oh, you
yes.
are? What, initial thoughts based off of what you've seen from him in the past? What do you think about him?
I think he has some valid points.
Okay.
Specifically on this video.
Okay.
Specifically.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, without further ado, let's just get right in it.
So I was just on my Instagram live a little earlier talking about what separates a beta from an alpha, both male and female. You know, I know a lot of people only associate those terms with men, but really there's a such thing as a beta female and an alpha female as well. And you know, a guy had asked me this, so hopefully he sees this video if he didn't see that one. It's really simple. Even though I've spoken on this before, I'm gonna put it real simple. When you're talking about like a beta female versus an alpha female, the alpha female is the one that says, these are my standards. You know, either you're gonna come correct or don't come at all. You either gonna get with it or you're gonna get gone. I don't care if it intimidates you that I have money. I don't care if it intimidates you that I'm fine. I don't care if it intimidates you that I want marriage or nothing at all. Or if I just want sex. Or if I don't want kids. Or, you know, whatever it is that she wants, she says, this is my package, take it or leave it. That's an alpha female. You know, she doesn't have to try to run all over a man. She doesn't look for a dumb dude that's, you know, just trying to spend money. She doesn't have to use her body to get a relationship. She's not validated by a man. She is who she is, and the right man is going to appreciate it. And until then, she's fine not being with anybody. That's an alpha female. When you're talking about a beta female, she's the exact opposite. She's more like the pick-me woman that I talk about. By any means necessary. I don't care if you cheat on me. I'm still gonna iron your drawers. I'm still gonna cook your food. I'm still gonna rub your back. I'm still gonna give you head. I'll do whatever because I need a man to validate me. That's a pick-me woman. The pick-me woman is the one that's talking to alpha women who are currently single, acting like they're losing because they're waiting for the right man, and they're saying that I'll only accept the right man. That's the pick-me woman. You're gonna be single. You're gonna drive away men with all those standards and all that self-esteem. That's a pick-me woman. That's a beta female. You know, and the same thing goes for an alpha male.
Before I think he's about to get into the male aspect. Yeah. All right, so he just went over an alpha female and a beta female.
Right.
Initial thoughts? Agree, disagree?
Agree. I think alpha females they know what they want. They are secure in who they are. Mm-hmm. So that, yeah, definitely agree with that.
So, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I think that the problem that alpha females often can suffer for is the degree of said requirements. I think that the requirements are inversely correlated to your age. You have let me see 6'3" and above when you're 21. Maybe at like 24, you're like, I can do 6'1", right? And then you start to get to like 28, you're like, all right, what's the average in America? 5'10"? I can do 5'10". I can do 5'10". You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. I think everyone should have a degree of requirements, but I think that like it needs to be realistic for what it is that you bring to the table.
Okay. Agreed.
Okay.
They need to be realistic.
Yeah, and also like just do math, right? Like, let's say you're a black woman and more than likely you want a black man, right? So you have 330 million people. Let's say there's 350. Let's say 300 million. Keep the math simple. 300 million people in America. 13%. Let's just say 10% is black, right? What's 10% of 300 million? 30 million.
30 million.
All right. Now, of that, how many are really above 6 foot? Let's do the math. I think it's something like, I mean, I can go to the website right now to get statistics. I think it's somewhere between like 5 to 10%. Let's say 10%. So of the 30 million, it's another 10% so that's 3 million people. Cut that in half because there's men and women in that number. It's 1.5 million who just meet that requirement. Okay, now you think of 1 in every 3 or 4 men has been in the prison system, right? If you have a requirement on that, and if he's had a misdemeanor or what have you, a felony, take all of them out, right? You think towards people, the ones that actually work out. You think towards the ones that actually have an education, the ones that, you know, are not crazy, right? You're getting into really, really, really super duper low numbers. It doesn't mean that that your requirements need to
that you don't need to have
you need to have them, but you got to be realistic.
Agreed.
You got to be realistic. So anyway, so you agree with all of that?
I agree. Yeah, you have to be realistic with your standards.
Yeah.
What you're requiring.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta have standards though.
Yeah.
Have standards.
You gotta have the standards. I think the sweet spot is an alpha woman that also has a very feminine nature. And he didn't talk about that at all. He just is going alpha versus beta. But I think the sweet spot is, because I love like an alpha woman. Like, like I've said this in the videos in the past, like a one that at the end of the day doesn't need me. Mm-hmm. Right, like, and I think that's like she's doing her own thing. Go do your own thing. Go be fruitful. Like my idea is like we both walk into a social setting, and we can both conquer the room on our own respective rights, and then meet back in the center at some point, and then talk through kind of the strategies needed to effectively gain whatever information or what it is that we're trying to get out of this whatever situation that we're in. You know what I'm saying? A beta is going to be cling to you. They're gonna be clinging to you. They're gonna be like, you know, they could be bad, you know, but it's like shoulder candy. They don't offer anything. You smell like candy a little bit. Anyway, they're not gonna be able to offer an opinion or a perspective that's like they just
go with what you're doing or what you're saying.
They bend and you know, it's just like get your own ideas.
Agreed.
I've been talking way too much.
It's like I completely agree with those things. I think there's a way alpha females can be, and sometimes they do intimidate beta males. I don't think a true alpha woman necessarily would intimidate an alpha male.
I agree.
Because he'd be secure in himself.
His manhood.
Right, and it wouldn't matter if she was an alpha female because he would already know, okay, what you're bringing to the table are standards and boundaries and things that, you know, some requirements. Gotta meet some requirements. But realistic ones, as we discussed.
Realistic ones.
So yeah, I think if an alpha male and an alpha female understand one another, and again, there's no intimidation there, it's a good thing.
And she's feminine. Like, I think there needs to be. She wants to have you be a leader, right? If she wants you to be a rib. Right, like I think that's the sweet spot. Like, and it can be difficult because you're expected to be an alpha in the workplace, right? You handle your business, and then that switch from in the workplace versus at home.
At home, right?
You know, those can be the dichotomy of the two are opposite.
Very true.
You know,
I think men need to understand.
Tell us what we need to understand. I need
Let me speak just, you know. Yeah. So I was raised by my mother and my father. They were not in the same household, but I was still raised by both of them. And part of that was being raised to be an alpha female and to also know how to be second in command. You know, having the man lead the household. And I'm single, so majority of my life I've been single, so I've had to be an alpha female for majority of my life. So getting into a relationship with someone and then expecting to turn that switch to not be an alpha female, that's difficult for any person to try to do that. So guys understanding there's a time, like you have to give women time to understand the switch in roles, maybe, where if you're in this relationship and she's used to being an alpha female at home, she's used to being an alpha female at work, and the things that she does, maybe she's used to being an alpha female in her other relationships with her friends, and then she comes into this relationship with you and now is expected not to be an alpha female. That's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take time and patience and understanding and compassion. So give a little bit of that. We need a little bit of that, especially if we're just so used to it for long period of time.
Yeah, and I loved your point, and I think it can get exponentially more complicated, especially if she hasn't seen examples of that at home.
Right.
You know,
very true.
You know, oftentimes I see how a woman will try to interact with me, and it's very clear to me that she hasn't seen how a man should be treated correctly. And this is a personal experience. I know you can't really comment off of that,
right,
unless you got your own stories, but like I've seen it happen, and all I can think to myself is, oh, you're talking to me this way because you don't really understand. Like, you may have brothers, but it's different. It's different than the respect that you would show if a man was in the house, right? Like, not your sibling, right? It's different. It's different. Anyway, anything other to add about the beta females? Do you agree with his synopsis of that?
I agree. I think it's a spectrum. You know what I mean? Like, I think that at the very end of the spectrum is that true beta female where, as he said, it's the pick me woman, pick me, I'll do it. And then you kind of move into the alpha female on the other end of the spectrum. So there's going to be women all through that who have maybe a little bit of both. Maybe in the workplace they're alpha, and in relationships they have a little bit more beta, where they are a little bit more accommodating and are like, I'll do that, I'll do this. And at work they're not like that. So I think it just depends on the type of woman and the situation that she's in.
Yep.
But I do agree with his assessment of a beta female.
This is the first video I did about him that I've agreed with anything that he says.
Really?
You know, my opinion is slightly different than his, at least for this first section of it. But I've done videos of him in the past and just
not agreed at all.
No, he's a panderer to women. Now let's see what he's gonna say about dudes. I think this is where the pandering might start to happen. Let's see. Now, this is a 6.5 minute video. He spent 1 minute and 50 seconds on women.
Ooh,
the rest
true.
gonna be on dudes. Let's see where he's gonna go with this. You ready?
Let's do it.
Step for us. On the relationship, dating seems a little different. The beta male says, you know what, I gotta play games, I gotta trick, and I gotta scheme, I gotta try to manipulate the situation. If I just want sex, I gotta lure her in for a couple of weeks and then try to have sex with her. I gotta tell her all these right things, that all I want is marriage just like she wants it, when I know I only want her body. That's beta male shit. Or in a relationship where, you know, they beat their chest and demand the respect. That's beta male shit. Alpha males, they earn respect. You know, they're not a leader by default of them being just simply men. They're leaders because they're leaders. And the decisions they want to make are sound. So another alpha woman, she can assess this guy and say, you know what, he's worth deferring to. And it doesn't make her confidence or her value waver in her eyes. Two alphas can coexist. They don't need domination to feel sufficient. You know what I'm saying? And it applies beyond just relationships. Like when you're talking about just in life, like as a man, like when you say, for instance, you watching two people about the street fight, you know, whenever you were younger, you got that person that'll wait till they're not looking, the other person's not looking, or throw sand in their eyes, and you can't respect that, right? That's beta shit. You know, an alpha male, alpha female says, no, I want this square, fair and square. I want to give you this ass whooping straight up and down. I don't need to take no shortcuts, no cheap routes or anything. That's the one that you respect. If you're an alpha, then that's what you respect. It has nothing to do with no moral compass. It's because on the inside, you want it the right way or not at all. Or if you're talking about, if you like sports, basketball players, if you got that one player that can only succeed and get buckets and be on highlights when his teammates are trash, that's beta shit. They need weakness around them for them to feel strong. But then you have those LeBrons and KDs, and no matter what team they go to, they have a perfect record because they're on that team. It's a better team. And you're going to know their name. You're going to know that they're getting buckets. You know what I'm saying? That's alpha shit. That's what I said. As a man, if you preying on the wounded and the weak and the heartbroken and the naive, you 50 years old looking for a 19-year-old because you know that she ain't learned how to think for herself.
Here we go. Here goes the pandering. Here goes the pandering. That's a reach. Maybe on 50. So P Diddy's a beta? Because isn't Diddy dating Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter?
Is he?
I believe he is. Is he a beta? You can't judge someone based off of that. But see how he followed it up. He said because she's weak, like maybe it's just you can because they're prime on the market. You know, you go to the supermarket, you're not gonna get that almost expired beef. You're gonna go there and get the new succulent T-bone steak that's right and ready to go.
Ready
you know
to go?
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, but he did say some things there that I identify with. One of the things that he said is that beta males need weakness around them to thrive. I think I do agree with that.
Okay.
I think that is a super beta trait, right? That's like bullies. Like, to be a bully to me is a very beta thing to do. They thrive off of weakness. They see it and, you know, and then put a target on someone's back because of, you know, whatever insecurities that they have about themselves. Like, that's a emotional, being a bully, that comes from a deep-seated hate of something.
Right.
Because we all know that hurt people. How about you? What's your initial thoughts based on his definition thus far? Before he gets into the pandering, I already know what this is.
He gets into the pandering.
He started. Yeah, he started.
Beta males, definitely weakness around them. I think that's exactly what it is, though. If you're a beta male and the only way you think you're gonna get a female is if she's weak-minded or can be manipulated, that doesn't really speak too much to who you are. It doesn't speak too much about your character and your leadership, that's for sure. So understanding if that's what you're looking for, you might wanna look somewhere else. You gotta do better. Do better than that.
They may do it subconsciously though. They may not realize that they're always going for the wounded fawns. You know.
Well, that's kind of what we talked about earlier of looking in too, and not always looking out. You have to understand if you are in all these types of relationships and you keep getting the same outcome. At some point, what is it that I'm attracted to? What is it that I'm attracting? Why is it I keep getting this type of woman? Then you'll see.
Yeah, but I think that they feel empowered by that control because you know it's easier. You know, it's just the way that some people move. Now, what he did say, Jaxn, he said, alphas earn respect, and I do believe in that. Like, you know, a beta characteristic that I often see is if someone tells you that they're an alpha male, they're probably not, right? It's not something that it needs to be screamed from a mountaintop, right? Like it's something that you just know, you feel it, right? You exude. Like, it's the type of dudes that you walk down the street with and you feel like there's no worry in the world. You know what I mean? But that is earned from looking at the traits and the components that make up that human being, right? Like how's their level of integrity, right? Like how's their confidence? You know, they have been known to lie, right? How are they at telling the truth, right? Like, and kind of, how do they hold their frame in times of pressure, right? Like if y'all throw shit tests at us where you're trying to like get a rise out of us, do I get all emotional and rise with you, or do I hold my who I am as a man,
right?
Let you stew on it for a little bit, and we can both come to a meeting of the minds when you're done trying to get a rise out of me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Am I just making up shit you don't identify with?
No, it makes sense. I mean, I think it goes to both sides. I think men play some of those games, and I know women play some of those games just to see what level can I get him at? What level? And part of that you do want to see. Part of it you want to see how somebody's going to react in different situations.
But let's debate this just real quick. We're back into the video. The game playing, is that more of an alpha or a beta trait?
Oh, that is in the middle of the spectrum because I know some alpha females who still do that. Who
play games. I think that they're
maybe not games,
but a
game.
They throw out tests. They shit test. That's what that's called.
Okay.
And it's usually like it's a check. It's like they throw out these tests in order to see how their dude feels about them or how their situation is going. So they'll do certain things in order to see, like, can I get a rise out of him by doing this?
Yeah.
So, but you think it's on the spectrum? Like, you can have an alpha female that does these shit tests, and you can have a beta woman that does these shit tests.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you're still human. Like, beta, alpha, we've all played some games at some point in life in a relationship. Maybe not consciously, but it's happened. It's never happened.
I disagree with you in a sense. I think it's way more of a beta trait, man or woman. I think an alpha man doesn't feel the need to check his value. He knows his value.
Right. I don't think it's necessarily about checking your value.
I think it is. I think that's why you shit test people, is because you want to see how much you might matter to them.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
So I think like someone who has earned where they are at in life, who has earned their stance in the social hierarchy, doesn't necessarily need to do things to find out from you how much they matter to you. Agree, disagree?
I do like that.
That's why I love these conversations, because it helps us both think through, the dynamics between human beings, as you said earlier. We're just human beings.
We're just human.
I think some of us do human beings better than others, in my opinion. But anyway, you want to get back into it?
I really do agree with that.
You want to get back into it?
Yeah, let's get back.
All right, let's do it.
Yet, that's beta shit. And really, I don't even speak to the betas that are committed to being betas, but male or female. I don't speak to pick me women and tell them how to do all these different things to get a man. I'm speaking to the women who believe in the value of standards, and they're just fine being by themselves and to a man who can meet those standards. So I speak to the ones that are already alpha or betas with the capability of being alpha. It's kind of like a lion that gets raised by sheep. They might walk as a sheep and talk as a sheep until another lion comes along and brings that lion up out of them, shows them their reflection in the nearest pond, and shows them how to roar and hunt like a lion. That's that crowd that I'm speaking to, or the ones who are already lions and how to maneuver and not regress down to a beta. Just because on a personal level, that's who I am. And I typically don't talk about my personal journey or nothing like that. But I remember before anybody knew my name, watching my videos, before I even had videos, when I was just a blogger and I was just writing articles and stuff, I remember seeing all these people with big, huge fan bases, and I saw other people taking the cheap route, trying to create beefs, trying to character assassinate those people, steal from those people. And I said, I'll never do that. I don't have to do that. As an alpha male, even though I'm not killing it and nobody would recognize me right now, I know on the content, the value of my content and my words and my messages, I can build mine from the ground up. No handouts necessary. Even now at this spot, I see people trying to take those cheap routes. That's beta shit. I'm about to go into the gym right now. I'm pretty strong. I lift about 500 pounds on the bench press. Guess what? I never even seen a steroid. That's beta shit. That's a cheap route. That's what I mean when I'm talking about beta. Alphas, because this is the value of being an alpha male. It's just not about an egotistical thing. It's about whenever you get what it is that you're after, you don't have to suffer that paranoia of losing it because you know that you didn't get it the right way. That's in a relationship or in life. You take a cheap route to get money, yeah, you're gonna be scared that the police gonna come find you. Be a legitimate businessman. Build something. That way you ain't gotta be worried about that. In a relationship, if you know you only got a woman because she was weak-minded, she was desperate, then guess what? You always gonna have that paranoia that somebody else is gonna leverage that desperation. I don't even talk. I talk to women with standards, with strength, about getting their money, not being dependent. But I'm saying I know those other women are out there, and that's the only woman that you feel comfortable around. Guess what? You are a beta. But if you're an alpha male, you can get the woman that has standards and all of that, and y'all can coexist as a power couple. Two alphas. That's what makes the best situation. So that's what separates a beta from an alpha. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'll holler at y'all later.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Couldn't a man be an alpha and a beta at the same?
Well, I think you said that there's a spectrum.
Okay.
So I think that, it's a spectrum. You can be anywhere on that spectrum. And I think that spectrum changes depending upon the situation.
Okay.
Right? Like you can be an alpha and most of the things that you're doing in life, trying to be successful, not like what the example that he was using is taking the easy route and causing drama in order to gain your followings. He said that's a beta thing. At the same time, like when I heard that, I was thinking to myself, well, but you can have different opinions than other people. And I think that's fine. Like I've done videos on him in the past and I've had a different opinion. But you should be able to disagree with other people's opinions and
without
think through
bashing.
them without bashing.
Right.
Now, I do think that like you could be doing all those things, and then you could still be, throw your money in people's faces, which I think is more of a beta characteristic,
okay.
right? Like, so it just falls on a spectrum depending upon like where you are. But I think holistically, the goal is to be as alpha as what you possibly can while remaining natural to yourself.
Okay.
Now, it might take some mentorship, some training. Like he was using an example of like a lion, being raised by sheep, and then another lion comes in and shows him his reflection or what have you. So I think that sometimes it can take good coaching. It can take amazing people within your life that can help guide who you are. But I do think that like, it's like nature versus nurture, right? Okay. Like I think there's some things in people's genetic makeup that's gonna make you different than another alpha. It's different in their genetic makeup. So it's like, but how do you go on this path towards happiness in your life while maintaining a frame but still being true, unadulteratedly true to yourself?
To you, yeah.
Did I answer your question?
It did.
Okay.
I like it. That's good.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah, because I think I have friends who are alpha females in the workplace, but maybe not necessarily alpha females in relationships. So it's more on that spectrum and kind of trying to understand the two where they're also not on the far end of beta in relationships. And they're getting taken advantage of. Right.
And that's how you see the women, and you see this on occasion too, the woman is, paying for all of the shit, for all the dudes' mess ups, for, his rent, what have you, which is I actually learned that doing this YouTube shit. Like I did a video on, this dude, was talking about receiving money from a chick, and I'm like, wait, does this happen? Does that happen?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, in my comments, they was all like, "Oh yeah, da 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 da." I even had some people in my comments. There's nothing wrong with that. You broke beta bitch. That's what
Wow.
I might edit that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's so much weakness in the world. Anyway.
Goodness.
I don't know. We reached the end of his video. Anything else that we want to talk about before we sign off?
Man,
that was a good discussion.
That was.
Yeah, so we kind of sort of understand his female version of alpha beta. How do you feel like, to summarize his male version of alpha beta? Like, what's your final summary of that? Agree, disagree? You bang with it?
I bang with it. I think beta males, like he said, are looking for that weakness around them. And similar to what you said, maybe you don't realize you're doing that. But that's when you need to look inside and take a second and step back and say, okay, let me reevaluate my standards for myself. But again, I think some alpha males can be alpha males, but still look for traits like this, where they look for a pick-me woman without realizing it too.
That's true.
So you could be an alpha male and still look for a pick-me woman, because maybe that's just who you like. Maybe that is just who you like.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like alpha.
Everybody's different.
So I think like a alpha male, like he was saying in the video, is not going to use steroids. In order,
they're gonna take the respectful route. They're gonna the honest route. The road
less traveled. Yeah. Like they're gonna get experience with something, as opposed to cheating and lying to get their selves through life, right? Like, so I feel like there's a relationship component that I hear you, and maybe it is an internal search if you find yourself going for the pick-me's, the ones that are super easy, like you just want to sit down and shut up, like. Maybe it is something about internal to them, irrespective of being an alpha or a beta, which is allowing them to do that. But like, I've talked about it on my channel from time to time. Like, I don't want like the pick me. Like have your own opinion, ladies. Like, have your own life, right? Like,
so not a Coming to America situation. You don't want her to just do what it is you want her to do.
No, like don't go do your, like leave me alone. like leave me alone. Don't overcomplicate my life. And then when we decide when we want to get up and go together, on a Friday or Saturday night, we're gonna maximize that time together, right? Like don't expect me to be all in your text messages all throughout the day. Don't expect me to, like don't expect these things from me, or even if like you coming over,
yeah,
right? Like we don't necessarily need to hang out all day. Like I got my own things to do, right?
Okay.
Like and I want you to have your own things to do as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like. But there's some, and you'll see in my comments, this dude's just like, no, I just want a woman to just sit down and shut up. I'm like,
why? I just want to know why. What is the allure of that? You don't want any conversation? Nothing? No opinion?
get a puppy.
Yeah. What is the point of being in a relationship then? If there's no dialogue, if there's no...
Your meat hole.
Okay. All right. Well...
There's that.
I guess everybody wants something different. I need good conversation. I think part of being in a relationship, or at least for people who want to be in a relationship, you want there to be some type of push, somebody that's gonna encourage you to be better. And like you said, you don't need it all the time. You don't need somebody always there, always next to you, always texting or always calling. But those subtle text messages every now and then, when you are in the same space with each other, like you said, maximizing the space, but making sure the quality of that time. You need quality. Quality. High fives. Quality time.
Hey, go ahead, girl.
I'm not gonna sing. I don't have the voice.
That was nice.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But the quality of that time is really what matters.
Yo, you are talking to me right now. Like it's way more of the quality over the quantity for me. And I've said this, like even the quality of like the conversations, like there's some women that will keep me on the phone, or talking to them about what they did yesterday in full intricate detail. Like give me the summarized version of the things that
get the synopsis
of the things that like had a major impact on you during the day, right? Like let's focus on quality. Like you think of like the reason for that companionship that I feel like a lot of men are looking for women is that nurturing, like being able to pour energy into me, because I have to be an alpha so much throughout my 24-hour day, and it can be draining. You know what I'm saying? So that pouring of that nurturing, that real feminine way that you guys have of like, after a long hard day, further enhancing our clarity, right? Like that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but that's not necessarily on the menu if it's just full of just quantity without quality.
Absolutely.
Like the quality has to be focused and really effective.
Absolutely. Because it's what you were saying earlier when you're talking about an alpha female, and I agree with you. When you're talking about an alpha female, if there's no nurturing part to that, that's hard. I mean, if I were a man and I'm coming home to my lady who's been an alpha female all day at work, and then she's an alpha female at home, and she's like trying to be all hard, and I couldn't imagine. You know what I mean? I'm glad that I'm a woman, and so I agree. There has to be that nurturing side and the pouring into. Oh my goodness, pour into each other. Just pour into me. I'm gonna pour into you. I think when people understand, when you do that in a relationship, when you do that, whether it's a friendship or a committed relationship, and you're talking about marriage, when you pour into somebody else, you're going to receive something back. It's inevitable. You're going to receive something back because you poured into someone else. So they're gonna get something, and maybe it's not always gonna be even. It's not always gonna be I give you 50 and you give me 50 back. Then doesn't work that way. But as long as you continue to pour into somebody and you're giving that quality, you're gonna get it back.
Boom. All right. I think that's a good spot to end the video. Siobhan, I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This has been so much fun.
You are more than welcome to come back up here at any time so we can continue the conversation.
Did you guys hear that?
Write it down. Take a picture.
Take a picture. Take some notes.
Go ahead. All right.
I'll be back.
You will be. All right, questions, comments, concerns, leave it down in the description box down below. I'm gonna make sure, like, of the things that they write, I'm gonna make sure that you see some of them.
Okay. I'm excited. I want to see.
You need a YouTube channel.
You know, maybe.
You need a YouTube channel. We're gonna make you an account so you can go down and see what's going on. All right, all right, until next time, YouTube. Excuse me. Peace! I had to pause on these.